We have the McMurray family director of athletics, in which, I guess, textile man, Brian and his wife, Connie McMurray, have donated $5 million to endow the athletic director's position at NC State. $3 million goes to that. $2 million goes to the athletic department at large. And Brian Murphy joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I think I got all of that right. So here's my question, because it's not new, and we'll read some Stanford endowments in a minute, which are hysterical. $3 million to endow the salary of the athletic director at NC State, and how long is that $3 million going to go?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Adam. Boo Corrigan makes about $1.4 million, so if it just goes straight into salary, that won't last very long, but I imagine they'll invest that money over some time and try to have it so that, you're removing some of the cost off of the athletic department at the beginning and then maybe all of it down the road eventually. But yeah, the athletics costs a lot of money. I was digging through some financial forms yesterday, and NC State has about $124 million budget, and so $5 million is not nothing for sure.
Right. Oh yeah, no, it's especially with what is coming. Right. And it's supposed to be coming for this upcoming year. Of course, we haven't necessarily seen the full parameters of anything yet. We're supposed to see those the rules and regs starting in July. I would imagine the universities have to know about this ahead of time. But this is not unusual across college sports. So let me just read for some people. Did you know that Troy Taylor is not the head football coach at Stanford? Troy Taylor is the Bradford M. Freeman Directorship of Football. How about that? Or Director of Football. Not a head coach. He's a Director of Football. Stanford's got like 15 different coaching positions, fully endowed at the university. Their endowment covers everything. Their scholarships are taken care of, I believe, with Stanford's endowment. I guess NC State's just a little late to this game?
Well, yeah, two of the assistant coaches on Duke's staff have titled positions. I don't know if they are fully endowed, but they're titled, so that means they're getting some money for those positions. And this is, if you go to any college campus, right, every building has a name. Well, guess how those buildings got those names?
Right.
It wasn't because they wanted, they just picked them out of a hat. Usually they donated an awful lot of money. And so this is just sort of expanding what the college model is to athletics, where we're not quite as familiar with it. But, the School of Journalism has a title spot, family that has named it. I call it a title sponsor, but, it has a family that's named it.
Sure.
As part of this, there was a $20 million biomedical department joint between NC State and UNC, and that got named this week. Someone donated $20 million to have their family's name on this biomedical engineering department between the two schools. So this is kind of the way of the world. I think athletics is going to have to get used to it.
Oh, I mean, honestly, we should. That's awesome. And if people want, look, I'd love to see it, and to the biomedical side of this. I mean, ideally, especially if people are paying attention, especially to federal funding of certain research grants across the country with universities, especially medical research and cancer research, donations to the academic sector and the research sector are probably they will go a long, long way to kind of covering for what is no longer coming. So we can have that. That's a different debate for a different show. But these are as you said, they're no different than title sponsors. Why do you think there are people who might have a problem with this? Does the McMurray family wield any influence now over the director of athletics?
Brian McMurray has been on the board of directors for the Wolfpack Club for the last 10 years or so, 12
years. So he probably already had it.
He's the former past president of the Wolfpack Club. So, big donors to your athletic department already have access. I'm sure when
Right.
he calls that Boo Corrigan or Randy Woodson pick up the phone a lot faster than if you or I call. So I'm not sure he gets any more influence. If he'd given $5 million to the school or just to the athletic department, I think he'd have the same influence that he has, giving it specifically to the athletic director position. I mean, you mentioned, NC State's looking to sell the naming rights to Carter Finley Stadium. They're looking to have concerts there.
Right.
UNC said you may see logos on the court, on the field. You may eventually see logos on their helmets.
You should.
Or their jerseys.
We should sell everything.
I think all of this is coming.
We should sell everything. I've actually been talking about this for a while, because when we're looking for money, I mean, I think the ACC should sell a title sponsorship to their football games.
Right. Especially the rivalry games, right? NC State, UNC should have some sort of title sponsor.
Yeah, they should also have a trophy. But they don't have a trophy. We don't have a Floyd of Rosedale, which is a pig, right? We don't have something like that. We don't have a
tobacco leaf.
Right, exactly. We actually had long time ago suggested a spittoon, and that the loser would actually get it, not the winner, and the object would be to get rid of the trophy, not gain the victory bell, but lose the spittoon. Obviously, that was a different time and a different place. But why hasn't NC State put a corporate sponsorship on Carter Finley Stadium? Who would that bother at this point?
Yeah, it's been interesting to me, covering sort of this need for money now that they're probably going to have to share $20.5 million, starting at $20.5 million, with athletes. Like, a lot of ideas that may have been like, we can't really do that because you were college athletics. I think all that's out the window. Like, let's put naming rights on everything. Whenever the new Smith Center, wherever it gets built and whenever it gets built, I assume we'll have a corporate name. Like, all of those old models of how we can't really do that because we're college athletics and amateurism and all that, I think is out the window at this point.
Yeah, we got to stop. And Libman, right? I know they've got at least a corporate sponsorship for whatever, just regular advertising, but they make brooms and mops and things like that. And what a perfect thing if UNC sweeps NC State in the season series, the Libman sweep of NC State. We have all sorts of fun things we can do.
I watch a lot of Yankees games, and every time there's a strikeout, they play the W.B. Mason little theme song.
There you go.
Behind it. It's very quick, but it activates something Pavlovian in your brain every single time. And I think, man, if the Yankees are willing to sell, they have now a sponsor on a patch on their jerseys, and if they're willing to sell every strikeout, like, there's got to be more stuff that colleges can sell.
I would sell everything. I joked about this, and we'll close on this. Here's what I would do with the football field. Every 20-yard segment would have a different sponsor on it. You get 20. I guess you could buy more if you wanted. And I'm not saying we would change the color of the field, but if you bought from the 20 into the end zone, it's Subway. And from the 20 to the 40, Chipotle, I would do that. I would sell every 20-yard segment.
And then Jones Angel is like, Carolina has entered the Verizon 40-yard line.
There you go. They've crossed the the timeout chicken, the 50-yard line. That's what I would do that. I mean, you got it. We have to understand that we need more money to make these things work. And we can't pretend that there is any sanctity left in any of these sports, because they're not. They've all sold out to corporate, to money, not corporate. They've all become, the whole thing is a for-profit enterprise, and we need to come to grips with that.
Professional franchises.
All of them.
At this point. And I think the biggest, and maybe this doesn't change NC State's equation or Duke or Wake and UNC, but the ACC's got to make changes to wring more money out of its television contract. So, fairness has to go away a little bit. So Notre Dame has to play Clemson more often, or Miami more often.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, the notion of like fairness and an equitable schedule and all that is sort of out the window as well.
Yeah, I think actually if you were going to ask Notre Dame, and we're going way too long here, Notre Dame should play Clemson, Florida State, and Miami every year, and then rotate the other schools in and out of that schedule. I understand that it's going to annoy some other schools, but sorry. Anyway, Brian Murphy, Murph's Turf on Twitter, and of course the new segment on the 7 o'clock news. Murph's Turf.
Glad you saw that.
I did. I enjoyed it. It was so like casual, off the cuff. Oh, look who it is! It's Brian Murphy. Wonderfully done, sir. Nice tie. I'll talk to you very soon.
All right, thanks, Adam. I appreciate it.
You got it, Brian Murphy here on the Adam Gold Show.